Welcome back to another episode of Catan Games and Strategies, and this is how I ended up winning this game. I ended up starting with the first placement on the board, and I ended up going with what was an interesting choice, which was 11-4-6. I originally wanted to go 5-9-10, but with this spot, I saw a few sheep and brick spots on the board that I thought could really help me out, and so I decided to go with one of those two spots later on, and I went with the 11-4-6, which was an interesting choice, but it was a choice that I decided to go with. So we're starting off our game in a pretty good spot. This is an interesting board because there's not 100% a specific good number one starting spot, in my opinion. But I figured I'll try this one and we'll see how it goes. So now we have Orange, Orange is going to be taking their first spot. They go with the 9-5-10, which is an interesting choice, but there's a few spots they could go afterwards, which the 4-2-6, or they could go 11-9-4, and they'd still lose out on brick, but that's I guess as good as you can get. Also, they could go 4-9-2. There's really no spot that encompasses all three of the resources that they need right now, so they'd have to basically take their pick of two of them and go from there. But I'm not gonna complain about this spot because they could try and go for the 2-for-1 or port and put it on that 8-10-3 and be pretty good right there, and use their port to get the other resources that they need. Blue is up next, and looks like Blue is going to put it on this 6-5-11, which is a pretty good spot. Very similar to what I did. They need wheat and they need brick, which there is a few spots you can get that. They could go 12-11 on the port side, or 10-9-5, which is probably the best spot if it's not taken, or 9-5-2, or 9-4-2. So there's spots available for them if they wanted to. And so now it's red, and red has their pick of the board. If it was me at this point, I would probably go with the 4-2-6, and then I would take that 10-8 on the corner, because it's pretty good resources. Obviously brick not so much, but the board's just not really favoring brick today. They could go with the 4-8-3 up top, and then they could go for the 5-2 or something around there. They end up going with the 10-9-5, which is one of the better spots on the board. But the biggest problem now is that they don't have any of the wood and ore spots together. So we'll see where, I guess, their second spot is on the board. And let's look at that. So it's an interesting place to go from here, because they could go for something on a port and give them resource, maybe that 4-8 up top, because again, they're missing out on a resource, but a 3-for-1 port to start the game is not that bad. They could go on the 9-12 wheat board, which again, something gives them a resource, and then they could 2-for-1 and get the wood that they need. They end up going for the 4-8-3, which is, in their situation, probably the best available spot, which is not that bad. Then we have Blue, and Blue at this point needs two resources, wheat, and they need brick, and my guess is they're going to put it on the 9-4-2, which is the only other sheep and brick spot that I have I would be looking for. And if they take that or anything close to that, I'd be kind of screwed in that sense, because I wouldn't get both of the resources I need. And I'm even okay taking the brick at 2, because it's one of the only brick spots on the board, and the other one's the 12, which they're the same thing. So I think we'll see where Blue goes here, but ideally they'd be going for a spot that I should consider if it's on the board for me. And they go for the 4-2-6, which cuts me off in a sense, because I can't get any brick. But I can go for the 9-11-4, which is actually not too bad because I get a good wheat spot. I get sheep, and I get another wood, which can't complain. I would have 2 11s and 2 4s in my hand, but I'm not going to complain about that if that's the spot I decide to go with, which, if it's available, that's where I'm going. Now we have orange, who orange has all these resources, which is the 9-5-10, and it looks like they're probably going to go, they could go 11-9-4 would be a great spot for them, or the port with the 8-10 sheep, where they get the ore port, which kind of stinks because you only have 2 resources, but not the worst spot for them if they want to try and get that. So they end up doing that 8-10 on the ore port, 2 for 1. They do have 2 great resources for ore, which it's understandable, although they only have 3 different numbers, 4 different numbers I should say. And then now it's my turn, and I'm going to go with this 11-9-4 and point my road towards the 5-2 brick. So my goal here is to get to that brick port, or just get to the 5-2 in general. So let's start the game. We have right here 5 rolled, and we are going to see the orange player do nothing. We see blue up next, and they roll a 9, which gives me another resource, wheat. If I can get one more wheat, I'll 4 for 1 and try and get a road and just do that, because I have no brick and I gotta get to the brick first. I could go for a development card, but I don't know if I'll do that right away. We'll have to see what my next turn brings me. So I'm not going to take this one, or actually I probably should, 4 for 1, which is actually perfect for me. Red ends up getting its first development card. I end up getting nothing with my turn, and I 4 for 1, get a brick, and start the road and journey forward. So as I said, I'm trying to get that 5-2 spot, or get the brick 2 for 1 port. Gives me the resource I don't have, but it might take a while, because with no brick, it's hard to make roads. I have to wait for a 4 for 1. Now, ideally, I could have gone and put that straight up towards the 11 wheat, and could have got a 3 for 1 port instead. And then I would have had maybe an easier time, because instead of 4 for 1, I got 3 for 1. And that's for everything. So I chose to go this way, and I guess we'll see how it works. Next up is blue. And blue has 6 cards in their hand, and they are probably going to put down a settlement, because they have brick in hand, and we'll see what ends up happening on their turn. They're trying to get that wheat. I'm guessing that's the one resource that they do need, and it seems like that's not going to happen, so they have to wait for now. I end up getting an 11 rolled, which helps. So now I have 3 resources, sheep, wheat, and wood, so not too bad. And red is going to have 3 cards, and it's my turn. Again, nothing really comes out of that, so I gotta just kind of wait my turn. So yeah, end up getting a 9 rolled, which gives me another wheat, which I'm not complaining about that one. So we're gonna just leave that and go from there. And now we are going to see this one, which is a trade with blue and with red, and blue ends up snagging that port, the 3-6 wood port, and the 3-1 port there. And then we see a ore rolled, and now it's my turn, and I just buy a development card, which gives me 1 robber. 7 is rolled, and we see orange roll the 7. So don't really know who they're going to put it on. I guess we'll have to wait and see. And yeah, this is the first 7 rolled, and this is the first robber that has gotten moved. Blue ends up discarding 4 cards because they had to. They had 8 in their hand, and now we're going to see move. One piece of advice: if you're doing trades with people and you have 8 cards, sometimes it's better to trade 2 cards for 1 rather than just 1-for-1 trade, because then you'd still have 8 cards, and if there's a robber rolled, you have to get rid of 4 of them. Put on the 6, taken from me. I don't know why, because I only had 2 cards. Usually, if I put it on someone and they have the same score, then I would take whoever has more cards. I also have 2 points compared to Blue, who had 3, so I don't know why they didn't just put it on Blue. But hey, I'm not complaining. It's early in the game. Blue ends up building another road, and that's where we're at. Red is going, and they get a 5, and they just end their turn, and I can't do much with this, so I just put down my knight, get it off of me. I think I take from orange and end my turn. I was trying to see what I could get. There's a few brick on the board. Maybe I would have been lucky enough to get it, although I wasn't paying attention to who got the brick. Orange ends up rolling a 7, which I thought he'd take from me just because I took from him the turn before it, but instead takes from Blue, buys a development card, and moves his turn on. The 3 is rolled, and we see Blue put down another road. Looks like he's going towards maybe that 3-1 port over there. I don't know. He does not have any wheat, which is a very important resource to have in this game if you're looking for it. It's probably the most important resource because you can do almost anything except build a road with it. So that's one you'd actually want to have in your hand, at least a good number. Moving on to red, and red has their turn, which is a 6 rolled, which is blocked by the robber, unfortunately, so I get nothing out of that. We see this, which I end up making this trade just because I already have 2 sheep. There's no point in having 2 sheep when I could have a sheep in an ore if he takes it. I threw it out there, and he does take it, so he ends up building a road, building a settlement, getting to 4 points, taking the lead. 3 points for orange, 3 points for blue, 4 points for red, and I'm still stuck at 2. Having no brick is tough, but once I get to that port, or I should say once I get to that 5-2 spot, it might be a little bit easier. I end up deciding to get another development card, which gives me my second of 2 robbers. So I will be trying in the back of my mind when I can to get more development cards so I could potentially get largest army. We end up seeing 7 rolled, which it goes on that 4 wood spot, and then it gets moved to this 8 sheep. And blue ends up stealing from orange, and the turn before it, red got stolen. So there's that. And then we have another robber, which goes on that 9. So there is 3 7s/robbers in a row. And I passed my turn. I could have completed the quadfecta, but I didn't decide to do that. Orange has this knight thrown, and he's going to put it back on that 4 because he wants to take from red. Could have put it on that 5, but hey, he chose to put it on that 4, which kind of screws me, which I'm taking that off next turn, probably. We end up seeing another robber, which it goes back on that 9, perfect for me. And another development card thrown down. I end up getting 4 of these 4 wood, and I could just do a 4-for-1 and get a brick, but instead I'll try and throw my robber in hopes that I can actually get myself another wood, which I do, and then I do for 4-for-1, get a brick, and keep on rolling. So I make my way towards that 2 and 5 spot, because the brick port is taken. So I can still get all elusive brick, but I just can't get it on a port. Unless I go towards that sheep port, which I'm not going to do. End up seeing another development card thrown down. There was orange and blue who both bought some. So that is that. Now it's red's turn, and they still have one development card in hand. They don't really do anything there. I end up deciding to get another development card, which is perfect. So now what I can do is wait for the right moment. I could use this and end up snagging some brick, which, maybe that'll help me out a lot. We'll see what happens with this Monopoly card. The robber gets moved again, and red gets his card taken away. I'm still at 2 points. Red is at 4, and then we got 3 points for blue and orange. Nothing's really changed in that regard, and the game goes on, and now we'll see what else happens. So orange is trying to do a 2-for-1. Seems like they want some brick. It's only 3 on the board, 2 on the board, I should say, because there's 19 total brick and 19 total of any resource. Ends up using this road builder, gets him closer to that 10-8, and ends his turn. We end up seeing a 6 rolled, which I just grabbed 1 ore, and looks like another night card is being thrown down by blue. They end up stealing it from red and put down a road, get longest road with 5. Now it is my turn, so I end up using my development card, which gives me, the chance to steal a resource. I end up trying to make a trade first, just to see if I can get something to happen. My plan, I guess, at this point is to try and get a brick and trade away an ore, because if that works, then I can just take all the ore for myself, which ends up happening. So I end up putting down point number 3. I end up putting down Monopoly and point number 4, which is my first city, going on the 11-4-6. So I end up getting 2 points in just a quick turn of events. So now I have all the resources I need. I end up with a city on the 4-11-6, and I'm looking pretty good. Rolling into the next round of turns. So it's Orange's turn, and what do we got? Orange is trying for a trade. Looks like they're trying to go for a wheat card, which nobody's biting. There are 2 wheat cards on the board, and they end up making a 2-for-1 trade with red. 2-for-1 trades always are a good idea in theory, because you get an extra card out of it. Unless it's like 7 cards, and then it would bring you up to 8. That's not a good idea. 6 is rolled, which gives me 2 more ore. So I got a lot of ore in hand. And I end up trying to do a 1-for-1 instead, because I'm not giving you 2 cards for nothing. If you want to do a 1-for-1, I'm more than happy to give you that, if you even decide to listen to it, which he does. And he tries again, which is going to be taken with orange. And he tries, I believe, one more time, and this time nobody's biting. At least I'm not. I do try and change it. Instead of getting a brick, I'd love a wood, but he's not going to do that one. So I'm not going to do his, and we move on. He builds a development card there, and ends his turn with 4 cards left in hand. I end up snagging this, which we're going to go 4-for-1, and I'm going to try and make my way towards my first port, which is that 3-1 port on the 11. Orange is up, and they can take from whoever they want. I put it on blue because they're a bot while also having the most points. So orange has to get rid of some cards, which they do. And now he moves it onto that 6, which is a good call. And so not bad. He has 7 cards, builds his 4th point, gets another settlement, and we move on. We end up seeing a 4 rolled, which gives me 2 wood and gives me 1 sheep. Now all I need is wheat, and I'm pretty good. So we see this, which is declined. I'm guessing I don't really know where they're going to go from here. It looks like he's doing that Y formation, going towards that 8 sheep, just putting down another settlement if he can, and he does. It's my turn. So this is my hand. Maybe I put down a road, maybe not. I'm kind of torn on what to do. I think right now I'm just going to wait because nothing really going on, and I don't have a lot of cards that would push me over the edge. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Looks like orange is up. They got 11 cards. They got to do something. End up doing a 4 for 1, and looks like they got 8 now. So we'll see what they do from this one. And it looks like they're getting their numbers down. They're trying to go for a city, which I don't know if they have what it takes, but they just kind of put it down and get to 5 points. So everybody's at 5 except for me. I'm at 4 points. And longest road is in the hands of blue, but they could easily lose that if it goes their way. So now we have 3 of the ore, and I'm going to try and make a trade. Now, ideally, I could just do a 4 for 1 and get the 1 wheat that I need, but instead I'm going to try for a trade, either getting 4, or I should say 4 wood and then doing a 4 for 1, or 4 ore and trying that if possible, which I don't know exactly what's going to happen. And it doesn't look like anything's really going to happen there. My turn ends, so I'm kind of screwed if the robber comes because I got 11. But now I'm set next round because I have more than enough wood to do a 4 for 1 and get the last resource I need to go 3 for 1 port and good to go. So we'll see what happens with the rest of the turns. Just got to get through it without the robber hitting me, which robber always comes up when you don't need it to come up. So let's keep going. We end up seeing a 2 for 1 trade, and it looks like orange is going to be doing another 2 for 1, probably going for a road somewhere, maybe towards that 2-1 port, or instead I guess they're going towards this 10-8. Maybe they're going to go down for the 3 for 1 port. I guess we'll see. I end up getting exactly what I needed, which is one wheat card. And I could choose to make a trade here, but I have no reason to. So I think we're just going to pass on this one. Unfortunately, I got no use for it. But maybe someone will take that trade. Nope. All right, moving on. We have red. So I end up getting 1 more sheep. I end up getting 2 more wood. I got like 18 cards in my hand, and I'm looking pretty good. I don't really know outside of the settlement what I'm going to plan on doing, but we'll see. Red has 4 development cards, so there's a good chance they could have largest army right in there. So we end up doing this, which is 3 wood, and then I had 3 more on. I end up getting 2 of these wheat cards, and I could go for a city, but instead what I'm going to do is go for 2 development cards, which is exactly what I need so I can get largest army. And I end up putting down a road in the downward direction. So 7 is rolled, and it looks like right now blue has 6, I have 5 with the victory point 6, and then 5 and 5 for red and orange. I end up getting 1 of my cards taken, which not really a big deal. And then I guess I had no use for it. I just had 2 cards anyways. It looks like a 2 for 1 trade here, and it looks like another 4 for 1 trade there, and it looks like another road's going to get plopped down somewhere. And now 2 more ore are rolled because it's a 6, and it looks like, this is where we're at, and we have blue with 6 points. I have 6, 5, and 5 for orange and red. Looks like there's a trade, and it looks like I end up with one of these bricks, and we'll see what happens here. So a knight is rolled, and it looks like that 8 is the target. I end up taking this knight and throwing it down. Maybe I can get something out of this. I end up getting another development card, taking largest army, and I guess we go from there. So I'm gonna keep rolling. We end up seeing 3 wheat and 1 wood get taken by me. Nice roll. I end up exact same thing, 11, 2 11s. So now we have 6 wheat, and we have 2 ore, 1 brick, and 2 of these 2 wood. So we end up seeing this, which is a 2 for 1, which I'm not taking that. Another development is thrown down. I end up throwing down my 4th robber just to be safe, and I end up stealing on this 5. I end up taking from blue, and it looks like we have another very important wood card. So now what I can do is a 3 for 1 and get a brick, do another 3 for 1 and get a brick, and do another 3 for 1 and get a brick, and that gives me 7, which makes me the winner. I get longest road. I have 8 plus 2 makes 10. Game, set, match. And I also cut off red from getting longest road and basically win out this game, which I'm very happy about. It was a good game. It was a good matchup, and honestly, I played some good Catan, even though I didn't start out with a brick, and it took me a while to get my footing. It was a good game, and I finally figured it out. Victories always are the best.